I love achievements, and I firmly believe they have the potential to be more than just a dopamine hit. But over the years, I've had frustrations with certain types of achievements. There are also some achievement types I feel could appear more often in games. I hope this video will inspire developers to take the achievement experience into consideration more often. If you have thoughts about achievement design, I'd love to hear them in the comments below. Before we begin, I'd like to briefly define what an achievement is with this example. In Team Fortress 2, you can set people on fire. There are secret trackers under the hood that record all sorts of fun statistics about your fiery rampages. Who you set on fire, how you set them on fire, when you set them on fire, where you set them on fire, how many you've set on fire, even how they put the fire out. If you're a psychopath looking for a performance evaluation, I really can't recommend this game enough. Well, the devs look at all these different systems and values and fashion milestones out of them that you can display on your profile and share with your friends, called achievements, or trophies as they're known in Sony households. But what makes an achievement good? I've arranged the achievements into 10 different types. First, an overview of the types, then a closer look at the pros and cons of each. Some achievements you come across will fit into multiple types, but this is a good foundation to start with. Type 1. Progress achievements, like this one. These can't be missed and are basically checkpoints. They're the only type of achievements that function more as data collection than a flex. Type 2. Hidden lore achievements, like this one. These are achievements that don't usually require skill to pull off, but lead to an Easter egg or secret interaction that lets you learn more about the world. Type 3. Mechanics achievements, like this one. Developers put these in games to get people to experiment with systems. Type 4. Emergent gameplay achievements, like this one. An achievement that creates a game within a game and makes you do something you would never do otherwise. Type 5. Skill-based achievements, like this one. Difficult achievements that test your skill and push the limits of game mechanics. Type 6. Stat grind achievements, like this one. Achievements that can take up a lot of time and can either be fun reminders of how much you've come or horrible slogs. Type 7. Completionist achievements, like this one. For these, you must comb every inch of the map or do everything there is to do. Type 8. Missable achievements, like this one. An achievement where, if you didn't get it the first time around, you'll have to start a new game. Type 9. DLC achievements, like this one. Achievements that come packaged with a game update, sometimes one that you have to pay for. Type 10. Limited time achievements, like this one. These are achievements that were available but are now unobtainable for one reason or another. Now that we've covered all the achievement types, let's see which are good and which are bad. To help facilitate the discussion and provide a little visual here, I'm going to group these types into different tiers. Of course, everything is relative, it depends on the game, blah blah blah. These are just general guidelines for the average game. Chapter-based achievements are good, there's no reason not to have them. They give devs valuable information on when people stopped playing their game, and they're even useful for players to discuss a game and avoid spoilers. By just looking at a friend's achievements, you can still talk with them about how a game makes you feel, but keep any upcoming surprises safe. I also appreciate when a developer hides the story achievements, because sometimes the achievement description can give stuff away. If your game is trying to have engaging achievements, chapter-based ones generally shouldn't be the majority of your list. An exception would be something like a puzzle game, where there's basically only one solution to each level. Otherwise, if you're going for a fun achievement game, the majority of achievements should really be in the other categories. Hidden lore and Easter eggs are really cool, and these achievements make them more likely to be seen. I think the games by Joseph Fares do these achievements really well. Once you get one of them, it makes you want to mess around with as many little things as possible to see what other interactions there are. You do want these moments to be memorable though, and not a checklist, so these achievements shouldn't be every 15 minutes. Mechanics achievements are fantastic. If you pay attention to achievements, they can teach you things about the game you may have missed, or help you better understand something. For example, in my playthrough of Jedi Fallen Order, I noticed that the achievement that requires 100 precision evades has a progress tracker on it, and the progress counter wasn't increasing. It turns out I was doing the evade incorrectly. What I thought was a precision evade was actually just a regular dodge. The achievement actually helped me improve, much like how a personal trainer might comment on your form at the gym. Another achievement I was going for involved reflecting a lot of bombs back at enemies, which is something I wasn't doing during normal gameplay. After practicing for this achievement, I ended up integrating the bomb reflect into my regular playstyle even after the achievement was finished. So mechanics achievements can really make you appreciate the game more if you go for them, and that's why I feel they should have a spot in any game's achievement list. Achievements that create games within a game based purely on the tools available are my absolute favorite. These should be in as many games as possible for one simple reason. They're fun. They get you more bang for your buck, they force you and the developer to be creative. They really are achievements at their best. I think the folks at Valve are particularly good at these. In a lot of their games, they'll have things like this, or this. One of the most iconic ones is when you have to take this garden gnome, Gnome Chomsky, and carry him through the entire game. For any devs looking to put achievements in your game, consider ones like these that are non-mission objectives but stretch the limits of gameplay. Here's an example of when this type of achievement doesn't quite land. To get the tubular achievement in Outer Wilds, you have to surf a wave for a certain length of time. This is very fun and satisfying if you pull it off. The problem is that you only have one attempt, and resetting it is very tedious. If you fail, you must kill yourself and start the game over. Then, you must sleep at the campfire to fast forward time by several minutes. Then, you must get in your spaceship and leave your planet for a new location. Then, there's considerable setup and more waiting before your next attempt begins. It's also worth noting that even with a consistent setup, it's very easy for something random to go wrong and wipe out. All this is to say, if there was a simple way to reverse time to this moment, or perhaps wake up in this area, the achievement would be far more enjoyable. Now, I understand the time loop rules of this game, and I'm not suggesting that the rules of the game be rewritten to accommodate this one achievement. But if the achievement requires such tedious setup to even practice, then maybe it should be reconsidered. Skill-based achievements are a tough topic because, at the end of the day, I do feel that all achievements should be attainable by anyone if they put the effort in. At the same time, I don't think skill-based achievements should be so easy to the point that they're free. Ultimately, this is an achievement that depends on the type of game. If your game is all about going for score runs or time trials, it's fair to say the game should have lots of this type of achievement. But here's a few general guidelines I'd like to see in all games to make these attainable, but challenging. Number 1. The score or time should be beatable by everyone on the dev team. Number 2, the score or time should not be so grindy as to come down to a few points or milliseconds. And number 3, the mechanics in the game should be very tight to justify having these in the first place. By making people go for high score runs, you put your game under intense scrutiny. The more people grind on a single challenge, the more people see the cracks in the engine or cheese the mechanics. And if your game isn't firing on all cylinders, it can leave a sour taste in people's mouths, or cause people to quit altogether. Bottom line, I'd rather have a test of my skill in the game than a test of my ability to Google a loophole in the system. I'm not completely against achievements where you have to grind. I understand the value of being able to show your friends, hey, this achievement took me 2 weeks of using this crappy pistol for 5 hours a day, but I did it! The reality is, I can't think of a time where an achievement said, get 500 kills with this gun, and I thought, yes! It's difficult to make grind achievements fun, simple as that. I would say as a general rule for developers, a grind achievement should not be the last achievement that pops. It just feels bad to finish all the fun, creative challenges and be left with work. It makes you want to put down the game right then and there. One memorable example from me is from Splitgate. Splitgate is really fun. I got every achievement in that game enjoyably. But one achievement is so far beyond reasonable expectations that I never even bothered. Win 1047 matches. Now, I understand the achievement is a reference to the studio's name, but getting that many wins is a bit optimistic. I put a decent amount of time into Splitgate, over 100 hours. If I kept grinding this non-stop, it would take at least 500 hours to get this one achievement. If it was 1047 games played instead of just wins, I think it would be more realistic. It's obvious what they were trying to do, drive engagement and keep people chasing that dragon. But if the dragon is too far away, not even the most dedicated will chase it. Bottom line, take the grinding out of achievements and keep it to the stat screens. This achievement type is also kind of a grind, so why would I rate this type so highly when I rated grind achievements so poorly? Well, to put it simply, these achievements are better because the game is built around them. They're most commonly featured in games where one of the main gameplay objectives is to collect them. Therefore, the developers have taken care to make the locations interesting and varied, and the journey fun. With pure grind achievements, you must do one action, then repeat that action X number of times until the game is satisfied. They are not the same. Even though missable achievements are so commonly accepted in games, for me, they're among the worst of all achievement types. Look, at the end of the day, less wasted time is ideal. I think we can all agree on that. Missable achievements are, on paper, similar to grind achievements in that you're meant to share them with friends. Ooh, you chose to slay all the trolls? Well, I chose to befriend them. Wow. Yeah, I get it. But in reality, all these achievements do is cause stress and reduce enjoyment. I'll continue with The Witcher 2 as an example. The Witcher 2 is a fantastic game. But on my first playthrough, I made the terrible mistake of saying, yeah, I'll go for all achievements. Let me just reference a guide to make sure I don't miss any. The Witcher 2 has 34 missable achievements. So what happened? Well, after the first few hours, I realized I wasn't having any fun. My eyes were glued to the guide because I had to pick up every item exactly as needed, talk to everyone exactly as needed, kill the right people, befriend the right people, or I would miss a future achievement. The heart of the issue is that several of these missable achievements resolve after hours and hours of gameplay. You can't just kill the troll, get the achievement, reload your save. No. There are 3 trolls spread throughout the entire playthrough, and in one playthrough you have to kill all 3, the other you have to solve their problems. There are several achievements like that in The Witcher 2 requiring hours of setup and a guide. I understand what the game is doing and why it is the way it is, and again, I think it's a great game. But let me offer 2 alternatives from other games that do it better. First alternative. Leave the choices in the game, but take the missable achievements out. In The Walking Dead, you have some surface level choices you have to make that can influence relationships, but the achievements given are purely type 1, and what could have been a series of missable achievements are instead put in a nice little end screen for you to share with friends and compare to others around the world. The Witcher 2 could have done something similar to this for the major decisions like Yorvith. Second alternative. Keep the missable achievements, but implement a better chapter select system. In Inscription, for example, there are quite a few missable achievements. But once you've beaten the game, you're able to go back to any chapter you played before, and getting any missable achievement takes no more than 30 minutes. The Witcher could have some sort of system like that, where you can go to the start of any chapter, maybe even check off some boxes to customize how you want the chapter to start. This may be controversial, but I don't like the fact that extra achievements can be added to a game after release. It makes you feel like you have to keep tabs on the game, or you lose that perfect game ribbon. A recent example is Halo Infinite. I completed a legendary run with all skulls on, along with the rest of the achievements, only to come back to the game months later and find that new achievements had been added. As someone who keeps somewhat informed on Halo, this was a surprise to me. If a game that's on my radar can surprise me with new achievements like this, I don't want to think how many games I don't follow at all have done this, and retroactively nullified my achievement by adding new requirements. All this being said, I don't fault the developers for this. I think it's more of a UI issue with Steam. This is a problem that Sony has solved. If you got the Platinum trophy, but more trophies have been added, you keep the Platinum. I think for Steam, though, it would be a great change if they gave ribbons for each era of the game completed. A player should not have their 100% ribbon removed because they didn't pay for a DLC. The achievements should only be added to your account if you bought the DLC. Type 10, 1 star. Most of these include multiplayer achievements from dead games, some of which require you to be at the top of the leaderboard. If you put multiplayer achievements in your game, you need to have alternate win conditions for them if the game dies, or just remove them entirely. Achievements that can only be earned in a limited window are even worse, because if that window never reopens, they are literally impossible. Even Valve is guilty of this, with the Good Guy Nick achievement from Left 4 Dead 2. This achievement was impossible to get for the longest time because Valve had stopped doing free weekends for this game. Luckily, this achievement does have a happy ending because they made the achievement available for one weekend last year. A bunch of speedrunners were going for an all achievements run for charity, and actually got Valve to enable a free weekend for the event. That's a great story for the game, and I'm sure it made a lot of people happy. But let's be real. If it takes a community charity event to enable an achievement for 3 days, then maybe it's time to rethink the achievement. So let's recap. How can the achievement experience be better? Well, I'd like to see more mechanics-based achievements and more emergent gameplay achievements. I'd say achievements should be less grindy across all types, unless the grind is a result of the player needing to improve their gameplay. I'd also like to see games start putting alternate unlock conditions for multiplayer and event achievements. And to Valve specifically, allow people to keep their ribbons even if new achievements are added, similar to how Sony does with Platinum trophies. Or even better, all platforms should consider having multiple ribbons or multiple platinums for each era of the game. Thanks for watching. As I said earlier, I'd love to hear your thoughts about how the achievement experience can be improved. See you next time.